cool. So, you were just telling me, just before we started recording, that there is absolutely no information about this particular type of malt other than it is a type of malt.
It is a type of barley. That's...
Awesome. Cool. So, we are deep into the unknown with this one, basically. I've not tried any of Benromach since they went down the Soviet route with their labels.
Oh, it is a bit Soviet, isn't it?
It is a little bit, yeah.
That shade of red.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the R's the wrong way around.
The angular C's and stuff. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It is a bit USSR. This is the first time I got pulled in by a marketing email for a new product. Well, a marketing email for a new product that is available. And I was like, oh, I like Benromach, 46%. It's an 11-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah, 12. But it doesn't give months, but I'm pretty sure it's just an 11. Natural in many ways, minus being cash strength, and used Cara Gold. And prior to nerdy fans of barley, Golden Promise, Optic, Concerto, it's kind of the other thing people talk about. Macallan in particular, Balvenie, a few others go into some small detail about it. I was like, okay, whatever, this is like, it's all aged in first fill bourbon. Benromach have this obsession with first fill casks, which isn't a bad thing. And I just thought, that's fun. And it arrived, I was on holiday when I ordered it. I came back to work last Sunday, opened it, tried it with my colleagues, got pretty solid scores and like thumbs up all around. It has developed to be a bit smokier, I will say, but it still has some of those beautiful tropical fruit notes that I talked about.
I was going to say, as we were talking, like there was like a draft
Yeah.
came my way, and then I was like, what's that? What?
It's this. It's quite a nice shade of Caramac.
It's I was gonna actually mention. I was actually going to talk about. Is it Nestle? The gold bars?
Oh, that say GOLD on them.
They're the ones. Yeah. There was
Jacobs, wasn't it?
Oh, that's
Club bar.
That's no. You're right. You're correct.
I know my chocolate. I know my chocolate.
Yeah, there was a period for like 10 years ago. My mother was like chemically addicted to those for like 3 months. So.
I can understand why. It's just wrapped crack. But yeah, this one like 49 quid if you buy it from Benromach too. There was no shipping involved either, so it was just £49, which I thought was quite nice. So
that's peculiar.
It's quite unusual, isn't it? But they sent it pretty quickly.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, I think it was on anything as well. Even if you bought it like a pet, there was no shipping on it. As with the new label design and a few other things, it has been noticed more. We were discussing previously that I quite enjoyed the old style.
The Tipex style.
Yeah, the Tipex pen. I know from reliable sources that the only reason they changed it is because that font was difficult to read in the Far East. Or in the Asian market, I should say. So they went, as you said...
It's a pretty big market,
it's
to be fair.
The biggest, one would say. So they've gone for this block, not necessarily Soviet block, but block style writing. I can never look at the shade of red ever again now without thinking Yeltsin.
You're welcome.
But I think as a product, the liquid always still hits the mark. Never had like a minus the 21, which was alright. The standard Benromach's tasty. Peated Spaceside's fun, it's just a bit different. And it's nice to have that kind of blur of regions and things, because it's quite boring.
Yeah.
To just stick to regionality, because you have it a lot. You work in a bar, I work in a whiskey retailer. I love Spacesides, but I also like peaty whiskies. Like, that's awesome. Try Benromach. Try Benromach. Try loads.
It's all palm true.
Yeah, try loads of stuff.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing of like, I mean, region's been a fallacy for a little while now.
Mine is Campbelltown, I would say.
Yeah, I mean...
That has its own separate issues.
There are some distillers that lean into it, like some of the Glens. You know, Lefroy obviously leans into the punch you in the face Isla kind of peat bomb. But yeah, it's... For everything that you can find that does apply, that you can find plenty of stuff that does not apply. That is making me nervous.
They're different, they're owned by Gordon MacPhail, which has always been a benchmark, pretty good quality stuff. I know the styling change and the price increases were everyone's cup of tea, but they still have pretty good quality independent stuff.
Also, when it comes to like, the price point thing, there's plenty of dealerships that are going up in price.
Tons.
So
I've seen some of those emails too. I can't talk about them yet, but a lot of stuff going up in a lot of price, and some things being discontinued.
Yeah,
which will be a shame.
Yeah, but it's hey. Do you know what? If you can't afford it anymore, move past it. There's plenty of other stuff out there.
Drink Aaron. It's good. Drink Benromach. It's quite tasty. This isn't sponsored by Aaron or Benromach, I should point that But yeah, happy to kind of jump into the smell and taste this thing because, as you said, that draft keeps hitting me, and it is. It's a different thing. They have gone on massively about tropical fruit, like all over this, and it is there. What's the official stuff? Perfumed and tropical fruit, pepper, toasted malt, butterscotch, sweet smoke.
Okay, I'm glad that it's mentioned butterscotch because I was like, okay, is it that I'm getting caramel or is it because I gravitate towards caramels?
Same. I mean, that label, a beautiful kind of golden
yeah,
label.
it's
it's very clever.
We've been talking there, we've been there already, but
I wonder if that's what the Cara in Cara Gold means. Caramel.
So we just accidentally dropped a couple of Werther's originals
Yeah,
into my but you know what?
The SWA won't notice.
Pretty hefty spice, I would have said.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah, there does seem to be something like sat on top of the tropical fruit. Like it seems to go under like a mist or like a fog or something.
I almost want to say it's got sort of like a gin quality to it, in that like there's a lot of like spicy aromatics coming up for me.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a Christmassy thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it like allspice or nutmeg or anything like that, but there is just like a Christmassy note to it.
Yeah.
We know there's no sherry in it. But
I'm not going to pick this up as like, ooh, Gordon's, but at the same time it's like fascinating.
Ooh, spice is the word, isn't it?
Yeah. Gingery, peppery.
Oh, gingery for sure. Like boozy
I
ginger.
kind of want to say sesame as well. There's like a...
Reminds me of like toasted stuff.
Yeah.
Like toasted sesame oil. I was recently at like a friend's birthday party. We went to like a Japanese restaurant and everything was cooked in sesame oil. Truffle oil and sesame oil. A lot of oils. But now that you've said ginger and sesame, it's all I can smell. But it also has just a taste of like a good dark and stormy cocktail.
Yeah.
Ginger, not rum necessarily, but like just sweet, spicy spirit.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where I'm nosy, I'm kind of like, I wouldn't necessarily gravitate towards whiskey immediately.
True.
It is a little bit sideways on that one.
Which is odd, right? Because on paper it's classic. Not classic Speyside, but on paper it's...
Well, I know on the box it says it is, but it's certainly not.
We've not talked about the smoke. Or the peat, I should say.
Well, there's a reason for that. There's a lick of it. It gives it kind of like a...
It's like a seasoning of it, just in the back.
I was going to say, it gives it kind of like a savoury quality to it, without being, the main draw.
Mm. There are notes in this room which remind me a little bit of the Benromach Organic, which is a whiskey I didn't actually like that much. Because on paper I should have loved it. It was 8 years old, fully matured in virgin oak, and it was the least virgin oak thing I've ever tried. It was like quite just barley driven.
Okay.
Just kind of like creamy barley, and there was like no spice, no caramel, no toffee. The finish of it is quite similar. But you said lick of smoke, and it is just there. It's like the final, before you swallow it, it's like the final flavour.
It's a cough, for want of a better way of putting it. It's like, like Kalila coughed in a barrel.
But then again, I suppose it's not hiding any corners about how old it is, so it's not a bad thing. But it does start to smell very, very just like grist, like barley grist.
Yeah. I don't know if this is the effect of this potentially fictional malt, but I'm being cruel there. But
it is.
Yeah, it's difficult to find anything out about it.
I don't know. I mean, if they wouldn't have put Cara Gold on it and just called it like bourbon smoke, something like that, I suppose it would be just a bit more direct. But there's very little about it. It's not a malted, it's not a barley variety I've heard a lot about.
I would expect as well, if it's a variety that they think is doing something interesting, they would at least give us something about it. Because I've never heard of it.
No, we've no idea about yields. We've no idea about how much of it was produced. Obviously, it was 11 years ago, so this has been a project which they're probably doing with other barley varieties as we speak. But yeah, it's just not. There's not much published about it, really, and there's not much information on the box. There's not much info on the label. What kind of weather it grows in, where it's been grown, was it coastal, was it inland, was it sourced from Scotland even, as a barley type, I don't know. The bottle has been cold, there's a slight mist to it, almost like a Daphne review I did a couple of days ago. But
doesn't do any harm. I mean,
no,
it's winter in the UK, it's what we're...
And as you said, we are on like storm 3 of the day. So.
We are. I think I saw somebody's umbrella getting blown down.
It's very honest.
It is. It's
which is nice.
It's quite a naked malt, for one of the better way of putting it.
I will happily drink. I bought it, so I will happily drink this. But even with all of the big ticks for me of first world bourbon, younger, 46%, blah blah blah, I will drink it and I will enjoy it. But I don't necessarily. There's 6,000 bottles produced of it. At 11 years old, which isn't a lot.
No, it's a very little sale run.
So they must have just kept like some stock to age for longer, which makes total sense. I will drink it, I will enjoy it, but I don't know if I would buy another one. It's nice, but at the same time, 50 quid. It's a lot of playroom. There's a lot of whiskey in that £50 price mark. Brilliant that they didn't charge me for shipping, but at the same time, the regular 10, which is as nice a whiskey you can get for about 10 quid less, even less even.
Yeah, I mean, when they did the redesign, I've tried the new 10, I've tried the old 10.
Yeah.
And there was a single cast bottling that somebody handed me, so I don't really have much in the way of detail. So when it comes to Benromach, I'm not hugely clued up. It's not like I've tried everything at festivals and all the rest of it. But it's just odd. It's changing as I'm drinking it.
I feel it will do that in the bottle, because when we first opened it, about a week ago, it was very tropical and it just smelled like pineapple and passion fruit. It was just delicious. Excuse me. But as it's been open, that spiciness has stepped out in quite a big way.
Yeah.
But again, first fill bourbon casks, youthful spirit, you got a lot of kind of fight going on there. And there is like a taste of new make spirit to it, or just younger whiskey, which I don't dislike. Nice, honest, but at the same time not necessarily fully memorable.
It's peculiar. I will certainly give it that much. I'm kind of struggling when it comes to giving general notes, but there was something a little aniseedy with the last sip that I had of it. It was kind of a herbal heat for it, but
But again, I think that fits in with like the ginger note. It's licorice and stuff. It's like cooking spice, earthy, sweet spice thing.
Closing thoughts, I suppose. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit mystified by this one.
It's an unusual whiskey. Maybe it will become more interesting the longer it's open. It's already contrasted quite largely between last week and now. Score-wise and like overall feel, I'd probably give it. It's not a bad whiskey anyway, but it might need a bit more time. I'd give it like a 7 and a bit. And I'm confused about the bit part. Is it like a 0.5 or is it more leaning towards an 8? I think I'll go like a 7.5 because it's not offensive. I don't dislike anything about it, and it could become a bit more open. But I think you describe it as a naked malt, which I think is quite accurate. It's very honest. It's very upfront. It hides nothing apart from more information about what it's made from. I like the flavour profile, but it might just be trying to find its groove.
Yeah.
A 7 and something.
I mean, I'd have to go kind of like plug it into my actual scoreboard, but it'd probably come out around about a 16 or a 17, to be fair.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
It's
a respectable score.
I mean, I'm enjoying it. It's just, it's one of those ones where like I'm thinking about it, and that's not a bad thing by any stretch of the imagination.
Everyone likes to be challenged.
Yeah, it's certainly one of those ones where you kind of like, okay, that's bizarre. Because when I first tried it, I was like, what am I getting from this? And I was like, I felt stupid saying it was like gin-like. Because I've never had that from whiskey before.
So they have it. They do have a gin, don't they? It's called Red Door.
They do.
Maybe they're trying to...
Maybe they just accidentally dropped some bit.
I think with all companies now that have an alternate spirit, they're all... I mean, if you're drinking... Because that gin's like 40%, right? The Red Door, it's boozier than 40, I think.
Yeah.
So maybe they're trying to like use it as like a stepping stone products into other things in their catalogue, perhaps. That's just a generalisation. I have no factual evidence to back that up. But yeah, when you said gin, I was like, I'm smelling things which I wouldn't associate with whiskey typically, and juniper was the big one, pine you mentioned too. Different. Very different.
It's
maybe just a little bit of settling yet. Because it's been left here, and this shop gets quite cold at night. So it's not been in like a warm environment. It is still quite early in the bottle. I know there's a lot of sort of confusion about neck pulls and things. Some yes, some no. But
I do samples, bring it. But
yeah, same. But I think maybe it just needs a bit more time. I'll probably decant it when it eventually comes home, just to see if that will settle out a bit more. But sample in the future, just to see what's gone on.
I'll be curious.
Yeah, just to see what it's doing.
But yeah, it's one of those ones where like I feel like it needs a bit of time. It needs to kind of find its feet and calm down a little bit.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm saying find its feet a bit much at the moment. But
It's quite jumpy, isn't it?
It's
just trying to throw
yeah. Again, don't dislike it.
No,
it's
no,
just
no.
unusual. Which I get we're having a lot of.
Currently. Yeah.
Yes, we've definitely gone for kind of like the
They all begin with B
hipster
and they're all
interest.
unusual.
Yeah. Maybe not you today. Yeah. Those are our thoughts.
Yeah.
Basically, we're confused.
If you have one, please feedback, because we could be missing some huge notes here. Or we could be hitting it on the mark, we don't know. But if any of you do have one, please do put any sort of description of anything in the comments, because by the time this comes out, it might have opened up a bit. So I'll reply to those with what it smells like now, and I'll send John a sample of it too. Yeah, different.
Different.
Yes.
I still kind of like the design. I'm not so good. Yeah, let us know down below if you've given us a go, if you found different tasting notes, if you agree with ours. We'll get back to you on it as well, because it's nice to have a conversation about whiskey more than anything else. I mean, we literally both do it as a living, so... Thumb the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel if...
You want to?
Yeah, that'll do. Yeah.
I'd advise you to.
Cool.
Good channel.
How do you feel about the colour red? Thumb the video. And do join us next time when we're drinking something else.